Good morning. Welcome to All Souls. My name is Reverend Jessica Hess. I'm your Director of Lifespan Faith Formation. Joining me in the chancel today is Reverend Daniel Lawlor, who serves as a part-time minister at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Staten Island. He also serves our sibling congregation of the Hudson Valley. Reverend Lawlor is a former middle school teacher, has served as a fundraiser for nonprofits in California and New York, including the Unitarian Universalist Ministry for the Earth. Reverend Lawlor is a proud graduate of Boston University School of Theology and Brown University. Welcome. It is a joy to be with you here in the sanctuary and from wherever you are joining us via live stream. We are a welcoming and inclusive community of members and friends. A special welcome to those of you who are new or visiting this morning. If that's you, please introduce yourself to me in the vestibule after the service. If you are curious to learn more about All Souls, please fill out a card in the pew, drop it in the collection plate as it passes you by today. Children and families are always welcome in our service. There are chalice bags and crochet tools for sign out at a cart in our vestibule, and those, by the way, are for all ages. We have nursery care available for ages 6 months through preschool in our Wigan House Chapel. And a few things I would love to draw your attention to. Next week is our opening Sunday, or in-gathering Sunday. We have many wonderful offerings. Please see your order of service for all of those and more information. We'd love to stay connected with you throughout your week. We have events almost every day. If you're not on our mailing list, please let us know at info@allsoulsnyc.org so we can keep you informed about everything that's happening here. Please join us in coffee hour downstairs after the service. We now ask you to silence your electronic devices. I invite you to quiet your hearts and minds as we prepare for our time together.
Good morning. Happy Labor Day weekend. Happy Sunday. It is really a gift to be with you this day, especially in this congregation, which has been a voice for connection, compassion, and transformation in this city since before the Civil War. Reverend Neal, whose memorial plaque on the wall, developed a relationship with one of the Harlem Unitarian churches, and one of my favorite ministers in our tradition, Reverend Ethelred Brown, would often talk about the purpose of gathering on Sunday was for mission, temple, and forum. We come together to live bigger values. We come together to center and restore ourselves, and we come together to learn. And all of that is dedicated not just to the walls that keep us inside these beautiful spaces, but to be oriented toward this beautiful and amazing and difficult and challenging city. So in the spirit of all of those who have sat in this pew, the third pew, all of the pews in this sanctuary over the centuries, we gathered this morning to rededicate ourselves to love, community, and freedom. And as Yesenia Mata, who is an immigrant rights organizer on Staten Island, often says, may we all be proactive and not reactive for love, community, and freedom. This morning, we light our chalice in that spirit and hope to be proactive for love. May it be so.
Please join me in our bond of union. The words are in your order of service. In the freedom of the truth and in the spirit of love, we unite for the worship of God and the service of all. Please be seated. Our responsive reading today is Blessed Are Those, number 728. I would love for you to join me when we get to the bold type. Blessed are those, the words, Blessed are those who yearn for deepening more than escape, who are not afraid to grow in spirit. Blessed are those who take seriously the bonds of community, who regularly join in celebration and learning, who come as much to minister as to be ministered onto. Blessed are those who bring their children, who invite their friends to come along, to join in fellowship, service, learning, and growth. Blessed are those who support the church and its work by their regular, sustained, and generous giving, and who give themselves no less than their money. Blessed are those who know that the church is often imperfect, yet rather than harbor feelings of anger or disappointment, bring their concerns and needs to the attention of the church leaders. Blessed are those who, when asked to serve, do it gladly, who realize that change is brought about through human meeting, who do the work of the committees and stay till the end. Blessed are those who speak their minds in meetings, who can take and give criticism, who keep alive their sense of humor. Blessed are those who know that the work of the church is the transformation of society, who have a vision of beloved community transcending the present, and do not shrink from controversy, sacrifice, or change. Blessed are they indeed. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song.
My life flows on in endless song above its lamentation. I hear the real, the far-off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars? I know the truth it liveth. What though the darkness round me shows? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to the rock I'm clinging, since love prevails in heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing?
Today's reading, The Playwright at Work by Lorraine Hansberry. As Unitarian Universalists, we draw upon and are inspired by sacred, secular, and scientific understandings to seek wisdom and practice compassion. Lorraine Hansberry is a 20th century human rights activist and author. The most ordinary human being has within her elements of profundity, of profound anguish. That there is means you don't have to go to the kings and queens of the earth for profundity. I think the Greeks and Elizabethans did that because it was a logical concept. But every human being in an enormous conflict about something, even if it's how to get to work in the morning and all of that. Naturalism tends to take the world as it is and say, this is what it is, this is how it happens. It is true because we see it every day in the life that way. You simply photograph the garbage can. In realism, I think the artist who is creating the realistic work imposes on it not only what it is, but what it is possible. Because what is possible is part of reality, too.
Come
Now is the time in our service for a moment of pause, of centering down, of prayer, of meditation. I invite you to take a moment of a deep breath and an exhale and dwell in sacred silence. Ancient scripture says, whoever dwells in the Most High will rest in the shadow of love, love Almighty. Spirit of life and love and possibility, as we gather as a community here in this beautiful, challenging city, give us the grace and space and presence to be attentive to one another, to really listen, to really grow, to be in awe of all that surrounds us, and to be troubled by what must be healed, and to be attentive to those chords that are discordant. May we be present to one another and all those we encounter. And in moments unexpected, may we give and receive kindness and cultivate love. May we do so in the spirit of life, love, and truth. May it be so. In that spirit of possibility and unfolding and connection to that which is greater than us, I invite you to join in our next hymn, which is number 159, a beautiful hymn, This Is My Song. Please stand as you are willing and able.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace.
Our practice of collecting an offering is a sacrament of this self-sustaining and self-governing congregation, which is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who join with us. Our offering today will be now given and received to support our mission of transforming our own lives and the world around us.
Thank you. So as we gather this morning on this Labor Day weekend, perhaps we are grounded in joy, or perhaps we are troubled, or perhaps we are in deep lament, or perhaps we're holding all of those emotions and realities in our bodies and hearts and souls at the same time. This is both a time of tremendous possibility as the seasons transition, and also one of uncertainty. We're thinking about all that might come over the coming weeks, whether it's starting a new school year, a new season at work, a new time to consider what our responsibilities are as New Yorkers and as citizens in this republic. Those ancient old books, the Psalms, I keep going back to. And part of it is because these contested, conflictual, at times contradictory songs, ancient songs, speak to this wide range of emotion. These books are revered in Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, in the Quran, ancient King David is given a special honorific not because he was a ruler, but because he was seen as one of the authors of the Psalms. And to me, there's something that we need to reflect upon that, about the healing, transformative power, not just of words, but of sound, of music, of taking us out of the everyday and asking us through the space and gift of time to think about how are we to relate to one another. The poet Lorraine Hansberry, who was an amazing writer, playwright, activist, and New Yorker, once said in an interview, "You cannot live with feeling heart and not know and react to the miseries which afflict this world." She felt that her calling, her vocation as a writer was inextricably tied up with the global struggle for freedom and decolonization in the 50s and 60s. In fact, she argued that one of the responsibilities of anyone with a conscience in the United States at that time was to resist the illusions, resist the false idols of their time. And she said one illusion that was very prominent, one fantasy that was very popular in America in the 50s and 60s was, quote, the illusion that one possesses a choice as to whether or not to participate in the creation of the present and the future. She wrote, like it or not, by one's silence or raised voice, by your freely given commitment to what can be, or merely passive acquiescence in what is, you and we all participate in this unfolding truth. And one of the things that I wrestle with is nearly 70 years after she wrote those words, I think that temptation to avoidance still walks with us, even in 2025. And as I've preached and visited different Unitarian Universalist congregations around Metro New York, I've tried to figure out how do we resist the illusions, the temptation to avoidance, the hope that everything will go back to normal, that we can rewind the clock before the pandemic, that maybe what was normal will just come back. And we all know that's not true. We all know that's not true. And the more profound and challenging but honest response is to look at the world we are in now and ask ourselves, what is our particular vocation? What is our particular calling as individuals and as communities in this distinct moment? I suggest that one tool in our toolkit as Unitarian Universalists we should pay a bit more attention to is silence. Challenging, transformative, disruptive, perhaps at times annoying silence in personal practice and in communal life. Reverend Jane Blackall is a minister originally from East London who serves the Unitarian Church in Kensington in London. And she always, before she begins a prayer to the divine or to our highest values, invites people into a moment of pause. A moment to slow down. Because we live in a time where millions, if not billions of dollars are invested in keeping us anxious and busy. And one of the great tricks of American society is the false temptation to believe that being aware is the same as being active. Constantly updating the apps on our phone, I'm addicted to this, constantly updating the app, trying to see what the latest New York Times headline is, does not actually do anything to sustain American life. or promote after-school programs, or nurture the next generation, or check in on elders who are sick, or witness, or support the due process rights of people who are facing so many violations at this moment. Awareness is good. But if we live in a state where we're tempted to think being aware is the same thing as being active, we're just falling for another illusion. I believe in this faith because I've seen it transform people's lives. I visited a tiny little congregation on Long Island. They meet in what I think at one point was a garage, like literally a garage of a home. And they run a food pantry. There are 30 of them. I've seen people nurture and support young people through difficult, terrible personal struggles and know that they were surrounded by love. I've seen the relief that comes when people say, well, I don't know if I believe in God. Can I come here? Yes. 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 And I also know the disappointment that comes when we don't live up to what our espoused values are. The essayist Gia Tolentino writes in her book, Trick Mirror, the nature of a revelation is that you don't have to re-experience it. You don't even have to believe whatever is revealed to hang on to it for as long as you want. You would be better for having listened. You would be changed. At different points, I've been tempted to say, I don't know. Can this faith meet what 2025 needs? And every time I've been like, I don't know if we can do this. Someone always breaks my heart in a good way and shows up in unexpected, usually unheralded methods for someone who's hurting. And they say it's because they believe in the dignity of every person. And they want to cultivate a temple, a space, a place where that's true. And they also do so completely clear-eyed, knowing we do not always live up to our espoused values, but they are important because they invite us to transformation and growth. We are not Unitarian Universalists because we already made it. We're Unitarian Universalists because amidst this aching world, as the prophet and playwright Lorraine Hansberry said, one afflicted by miseries, we're committed to the possibility that kindness and attentiveness and a commitment to grow and change for justice actually matters. Just before the pandemic, at a seminar on the freedom movement in the United States, I met a brilliant elder activist in Selma, Alabama, who wanted to make sure that we remembered this. She said, if you're the missing piece of the puzzle, you're the most important piece. If you're the missing piece of the puzzle, you're the most important piece. I suggest that we take time, perhaps in silence, perhaps on walks, perhaps through conversations over dinner tables and in congregation meetings. What could be the habits for our personal, congregational, and civic lives to be more deeply oriented toward compassion? We can listen to the words of civil rights activist Ella Baker, who would ask, who are your people? Who are we accountable to? In our personal lives, who are our people and how do we engage them? Do we make that phone call to the relative we've been meaning to talk to? Are we attentive to the people we meet on the subway? Do we really listen to our friends and coworkers? In our congregational lives, who are our people? How do we engage them? Do we nurture those who quietly show up early, pass out flyers and information? Are we curious about how our groups, our committees, our efforts at change are present? Do we help our young adults come of age? Do we advocate with others to demand justice, especially for refugees in this city right now? We can make real our inspirations through what Paula Cole-Jones calls the community of communities that is our congregation. And in our civic lives, in this city, where there are countless groups of people of different faith backgrounds earnestly trying to find ways to make this unfinished project of America more beautiful and true, how do we partner and show up? In ways big and small. From working with UUs for Social Justice, for our federal legislation, to La Colmena, an immigrants' rights group on Staten Island, to the Interfaith Center for New York right here in Manhattan. There are so many countless ways we can show up. One colleague reminds me that we are not just our buildings and we're not just our values, but we're how we embody this world, encounter it, act with one another. Those ancient Psalms, one recurring theme in them is don't worship the false gods. Don't worship the false gods. The kings come and go. The nations rise and fall. But the eternal love, the almighty love, the Spirit bigger than any one of us, bigger than the universe and smaller than a grain of sand, that points to the relationships that we all share and have a part of. Lorraine Hansberry asks us to consider what actions flow from a feeling heart. And on this Labor Day Sunday, I invite us to make space for ritual attentiveness and habits of compassion throughout this year. This beautiful congregation is one of 5 Unitarian Universalist congregations in the city, one of over 60 in New York State, one of over 1,000 in the world from Manila to New Zealand. We are part of a group of people trying to live values of transformation, knowing we will fall short, but capable to grow. What a gift. Let us grow in deep concern, in unending compassion, and a willingness to try again. This world and city has much misery in it. Perhaps we're feeling some in our heart right now. But misery isn't the only answer. Kindness can accompany us. May we be brave. May we be kind. May we be restless for love. Thank you. To anchor us in that spirit of unfolding possibility, I invite you to join in our closing hymn, Joy Thou Goddess. Thank you.
Joy, thou goddess fair, immortal, offspring of Elysium, mad with rapture to the portal of thy holy fane we come,
The worship comes to an end, but the service begins. Go now in peace, surrounded by surprise, being attentive to joy, and may this Labor Sunday, may we be attentive through the call of the feeling heart. As we extinguish the light of our chalice, we carry the fire of commitment and the love of this community with us always. And now in our going, may love bless us and keep us. May the light of love shine upon us and from out within us. And be gracious unto us and challenge us to grow and give us peace and the yearning and work for justice. For this is the day we are given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.